Most professionals waste about 2 hours every workday on tasks a well-configured tool could handle in seconds. Not because they are lazy, because nobody told them which 2 hours those are. That is what this is about, not a list of apps to download and forget. A specific diagnosis of where your time is leaking and exactly which tools plug those leaks, so you leave work having done the things that actually require you. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Busy work does not feel like busy work when you are doing it. It feels like being productive, formatting a report, summarizing a meeting, cleaning up a spreadsheet, answering routine emails. These tasks have the texture of work, they take effort, they produce an output, someone thanks you for them. But they do not require your judgment. They do not require your relationships. They do not require 15 years of knowing how this industry actually operates. And that is the test worth applying to everything you do this week. Does this task require me specifically, or does it just require a person? If the honest answer is the second one, that task is a candidate for replacement. The first category where this shows up hardest is meeting documentation. The average professional spends somewhere between 4 and 6 hours per week in meetings, and then spends additional time writing up what happened, who said what the action items are, and who owns them. That summary process, the part that happens after the meeting ends, is almost entirely automatable right now. Not a rough transcript. An actual, usable document. One of our readers, a project manager at a mid-sized logistics firm, told us she was spending roughly 40 minutes after every major call writing up notes. She set up Fathom on a Tuesday afternoon. By Thursday, she had stopped writing meeting notes entirely. That is not a small thing. That is 3 to 4 hours a week handed back to her, every week, permanently. The second category is email. Specifically, the drafting of emails you send over and over with slight variations. Status updates to clients. Follow-ups after no response. Polite but firm requests for information from internal teams. If you find yourself staring at a blank composed window thinking about how to phrase something you have phrased 100 times before, the hesitation is the tax you are paying for not having a system. The practical move here is not to use AI to write your emails for you wholesale. That produces a voice that sounds like nobody, and experienced people notice. The move is to build a small library of your own best drafts, and then use a tool like ChatGPT or Claude to adapt them quickly for new contexts. You paste in your template, you describe the specific situation in 2 sentences, and you have a first draft in 8 seconds that sounds like you because it is built on your language. The time cost of a careful email drops from 7 minutes to 90 seconds. At scale, across a week, that is significant. But here is what nobody tells you about email automation. The real gain is not the time. It is the decision fatigue you stop burning. Every time you sit down to write a difficult email from scratch, you are spending cognitive budget, the same budget you need to make good calls later in the day. Eliminating that friction does not just save minutes. It preserves the mental clarity that makes your actual judgment better. Third category, data cleanup and formatting. If any part of your week involves taking information from one format and moving it into another, copying data between spreadsheets, reformatting reports so they match a template, converting exported files into something a colleague can actually use. This is one of the highest leverage places to spend an hour learning one tool. Microsoft Copilot inside Excel, or ChatGPT's data analysis mode, can take a messy exported file and restructure it according to instructions you give in plain English. You do not need to know how to write a formula. You describe what you want the output to look like, and the tool builds it. An operations analyst we spoke with was spending every Monday morning reformatting a weekly export from their logistics software into a report template their director expected. An hour and a half every single Monday for 3 years. He described the instructions to ChatGPT, iterated twice, and built a process that now takes 11 minutes. The Monday morning hour and a half is gone. Fourth, research and synthesis. A significant portion of knowledge work involves gathering information before you can do anything with it. Reading through reports, pulling together numbers from multiple sources, getting up to speed on something before a meeting or a decision. This is another place where AI earns its keep quietly. The workflow is straightforward. You pull it out of documents, put it out of emails, read it in notes. You pay emphasize, summarize, or set the tensions. What you get back is not perfect. You still read it critically, but the first pass, the part where you would have spent 40 minutes just orienting yourself, compresses to 5. You arrive at the analysis phase faster, with more energy for the judgment that actually matters. Fifth, and this one is underestimated, first drafts of any written deliverable, proposals, project briefs, performance reviews, internal memos. The hardest part of any writing task is the blank page. The psychological resistance to starting is real, and most people do not recognize how much time they spend not quite starting a document before they actually begin. The unlock is to lower your standard for the first draft dramatically. Ask an AI to produce something rough in the right general direction, and then edit it. Editing is faster than composing. Your critical faculties engage faster when you have something to react to. A department head we know went from dreading his quarterly review write-ups, 3 or 4 evenings of slow grinding work, to completing them in a single afternoon. He is not less thoughtful. He is just not starting from zero anymore. Now here is the frame that ties all of this together. None of these tools replace the part of your job that actually protects your position. They do not replace your knowledge of which clients need careful handling. They do not replace your read on how leadership is thinking about the next cycle. They do not replace the trust that colleagues place in your judgment. What they replace is the surrounding scaffolding, the administrative overhead that consumes time and attention without producing leverage. When you remove that scaffolding, you do not just get time back. You become visibly more effective at the work that actually creates your value. That visibility matters. The people who get assigned to the interesting projects, who get pulled into early conversations about strategic decisions, are rarely the busiest people. They are the people who seem to have capacity. The specific action to take today is this. Open your calendar from the last 2 weeks and look at where your time actually went. Not where you think it went, where it actually went. For every recurring task you find, anything you do more than twice a week, ask the question honestly, does this require me, or does it just require a person? The ones that fall into the second category are your list. Start with the one that costs you the most time. Look up whether there is a tool in this video that addresses it. Spend 1 focused hour learning that tool. 1 hour of learning, repeated 3 or 4 times, can restructure 20 hours of every future month. The professionals who end up with the most security in the next 5 years are not going to be the ones who worked the hardest on tasks that did not need them. They are going to be the ones who are honest early about where their time was leaking and quiet about fixing it.